All right, I want to welcome everybody to the Broadband Hui. This is number 275, and I appreciate everybody joining us. Yeah, we got a really good lineup today, and I think will be some interesting information, and I want to make sure we get to everybody. Um, so for quick introductions, let me start off. My name is Bert Lum. I'm with the Internet Society Hawaii chapter and am the convener for the community stakeholders interested in broadband and digital equity. And happy to see all you here. Um, what I'll do is do a couple of little quick intros, and then we'll go proceed with our kind of manao of the day. And I'll just start with Bo, because Bo, I haven't seen you on for a while, right?
Yeah, aloha, Bert. Yeah, it's been a while since I've got with the Hui, and I understand that you're going to have some discussion about DHHL and their role in digital equity. And we have been early on. I think when the Hui first started, we were interested in um, working with the department, getting uh, um, um, some some broadband in our community, and kind of fell apart. But I think there's still that opportunity for the department to serve our community here in Kona. Thank you.
Yeah, no, great. And um we have a couple guests that will kind of provide some updates on things. Let's see. I want to give Ashley Ashley a chance to introduce herself.
Oh, aloha, everybody. My name is Ashley Yonamine. I am Interim Administrative Director at Hawaii Lodging and Tourism Association. And I'm just super excited for the opportunity to learn more about how the Hui works and how HLTA can support. So thank you all so much for letting me crash the party.
Oh yeah, no problem. Ashley, and why don't you send me your email contact, and I can put you on the mailing list, and make sure that you're getting all the the agenda and the announcements from the Broadband Hui.
I will do that. Thank you so much.
Sure. And uh I'm hoping that you have my email, but if you don't, I can DM that to you.
I got 'em. Thank you, though.
Okay, great. Let's see. Well, with that, I think that's all I don't want to spend too much time. Everybody else is kind of regular, all the regulars. So uh, I'll dispense with, the introductions for all the regulars. But again, thank you for joining us on the Broadband Hui 275. What I wanted to do was kind of do the Manao of the day. And I I'll take the liberty of kind of promoting something that is coming up this coming I think it's the August 9th, which is this coming Sunday. Anyway, so let me put this up, and we'll talk a little bit about the manao of the day for this broadband hui. Okay, so guys, can you see that it's 50 years of Aloha Aina, and August 9th is taking place over at Iolani Palace. And this is kind of a recognition of the 50th anniversary for Kaho'olawe and the actual, stop the bombing movement that took place in 1976. So 50 years later, 2026 is the 50th anniversary of the Aloha Aina movement. And the um, operative words here are la'a, ma'a, pa'a. And la'a is to sanctify. So their landing was kind of like to sanctify. Ma'a is to sustain, and Pa'a is to I'm blanking here. Sorry. The article says it solidify. So solidify, which is to kind of bring everybody back together and well, the whole PKO movement has been going on for the last 50 years. And this 50th anniversary is really to bring people together, bring attention to the movement 50th anniversary. And there's some activities that are taking place over at Iolani Palace this coming Sunday. So I wanted to share that with you. Let's see. I might have taken away from the sharing, but hold on while I reorient myself here. The thing that I wanted to kind of point out is the fact that let's see, where's my here it is. So I'm hoping that this kind of comes over more clearly. Whoops. Sorry about that. This happens when you have to. Okay, so hopefully this is a little bit more clear. Well, hopefully this is clear. So anyway, 50th anniversary, and our guest speaker, Rep Matayoshi, we both were on Kaho'olawe. This was a bunch of years ago, but uh, you might start thinking, well, what does this have to do with the Broadband Hui? And the punchline that I'm awkwardly getting to is the fact that I will be on Kaho'olawe this coming weekend to install a Starlink to help with some of the uh, basically digital resilience to make sure that their current connection, which is served off of a microwave from Lanai, is if it ever goes down, which it does go down, there's a backup with the Starlink. And then the other thing that is beneficial, with the implementation of the Starlink is that it's mobile. So you can actually drive it, and take it to various locations. As long as you got a power supply, you can power it up and make sure that it's working properly, right? So you can actually take it out of the base camp, which is located at Honokanaya. And so I'm going to be taking it over this weekend. I'm going to be testing it out in Honokanaya. And then one of the tests is, at the base camp. And then the other test is going to be uh, someplace away from the base camp. And I'll be, hopefully have a decent um, sort of power supply. All I need to do is power up the router, point it to the satellite, and then be able to get access to the internet. So that's kind of the connection between why I wanted to share this event coming up on August 9th and the fact that unfortunately I won't be at the August 9th event over at Iolani Palace, but I will be on Kaho'olawe, running some of these use cases. And so uh, you can read the article about La'a Ma'a Pa'a, and this is a not only a celebration of 50 years, but it's a kind of dedication to solidify our role and involvement with Kaho'olawe. So that's my mana'o of the day, and I appreciate your giving me the chance to share a little bit about this. So with that, I'll stop sharing and want to give Rep Matayoshi a chance to talk a little bit about the AI bill that was recently passed. And, maybe share some thoughts on, the genesis of it and how you see it moving forward. So, Rep Matayoshi, thanks for joining us on the Broadband Hui.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Um, I kind of thought this was going to be more discussion led. This was not my bill. This was Representative Mike Lee's bill, although it did come through my committee, and I was heavily involved in its passage. But I don't want to take undue credit for this bill going through the legislature since I was not the one who introduced it. A lot of credit goes to Rep. Mike Lee from Kailua for passing or getting this bill passed as well. Um, I mean, we all know about deepfakes, especially in this group.
Mm-hmm.
The legislature decided to this year to take a stand on it and make sure that people could not or create some kind of right of action for people who are having deepfakes made of themselves, so that they could try to enforce it in our state courts. So that's what this bill does. Looking back at it, it kind of, I mean, I don't want to, it doesn't exactly mimic it, but to me, it kind of takes the stance that we do for copyright, where copyright, you can copyright something, but it can still be used for, people can still use it for parody. You can make parodies of it. You can still use it for educational purposes. There are certain exemptions for copyright where you can still use it. This bill kind of mimics that. In order to protect free speech, just like we have exemptions for copyright. So there are certain exemptions for education, there's certain exemptions for parody, certain exemptions for newscasting, for example, exemptions to still allow information to get out there and for it to be still used in a non-profiting way. But if you are using it for advertisement, especially, or if you're using it to harm others, then and damages can be shown, then we did put language in there to not only allow punitive damages if it was knowing, well, I guess it has to be knowing. We also put in baseline $25,000 per advertisement if it's being used for advertising. So kind of similar to copyright, honestly, right? I mean, if you're using a copyrighted image for profit, then the law is going to come down much harder on you, rather than if a school teacher is using Mickey Mouse in their classroom presentation. Good luck getting them on that one. I mean, it's for an educational purpose. They're not making any money off of it. So that's kind of how this bill, it's a good way to think about this bill, I guess.
So in terms of the kind of enforcement, as far as I could tell, uh, it's going to be kind of left to is it like the AG's office or is it consumer protection? Who's
It's going
actually
to be AG's
chartered
office is
to?
going to can enforce it, but it's a private right of action. So I mean, if I made an AI image of Bert and had him kicking a cat or something like that, and it's damaging his reputation, Bert could bring that action against me, not only to get the court to try to for an injunction for me to take it down, but if Bert can prove any damages too, he can get that on me too. And there is let me see, I know there's a punitive damages aspect of it too. So it's not only proving actual damages, like he lost $10,000 of business because of this video. I believe we allowed punitive damages too. Yeah, when malice is proven. So if I can prove that, or if Bert can prove that I did it maliciously, then Bert can also go for punitive damages, which go beyond actual damages. Punitive damages are meant to discourage future action like that. So not only was Bert damaged, he could show a loss of $10,000 of business, but the court could come down on me for $1 million to make sure that I don't do this again and that no one else does it again. If I'm rich and $10,000 is like nothing to me, then sure, I'll pay Bert 10 grand and I'll do it again. Punitive damages are meant to be such that it discourages future behavior, not only from me, but from other people in the community.
Great, great. So what we do is Rep, this is a discussion, so I open it up for any questions that people might have. And
Hmm.
thanks for clarifying that this is not your bill, but I think you were very instrumental in helping to support it and help it move through the process. So I wanted to pick somebody that was pretty knowledgeable about the bill. Uh, any questions, Sean?
Yeah. How did you know? Thanks, Rep. Matayoshi, for being here. I'm just curious. We were reading about, the Trump administration threatening states that tried to regulate AI with withholding federal funding or, various punishments. Did that play out in your discussion of the bill? That the state was going to step up regardless of that threat?
It factored in some. It factored in some. I'm not going to lie to you and say that we're not considering how the federal government is going to react to certain bills that we pass. But if the federal government, too, is not going to step up and actually regulate, then it falls to the states to protect its own citizens. And that's what this bill came down to. If the federal government said, don't regulate AI images or whatnot because we're in the process of doing it, and here's the bill, and we're about, we're going to push for its passage, or the rule, we're going to create new rules to protect citizens from this. Sure. I still think that the states can regulate above and beyond what the federal government is doing, but the states should not be stepping into the shoes of the federal government. That being said, if the federal government is refusing to regulate something as essential as this, then I think it is up to the states to step up, and that's what we did. Now, if the federal government comes with rules or whatnot that conflicts and supersedes our law, great. I frankly welcome it. I think that this is an issue that should be dealt with on the federal level. But if the federal government is refusing to act, then the states have to kind of piecemeal this thing.
Thanks. I just appreciate your response. That's great. Thank you.
Hey, Chung, I see your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Bert. Thank you, Representative, for presenting this and sharing with us this information. What I wanted to let you know, and I've told other legislators as well, in the background, our office was actually doing an assessment on all of the AI bills to make sure that the bills did not present funding risk from the federal government. And so one thing I also told Senator Kyokolole last time he presented was that if I hadn't reached out to you, that means there's no or little risk that this AI bill would impact any federal funding. So just to give you some comfort, there are these assessments going on in the background, and this particular bill presented no risk to any
great.
federal funding. Yeah, and so
Even better.
yeah, and so during the last legislative session, there were some senators and representatives that I had to reach out to because some AI bills were going to present some funding challenges for us as a state. So a lot of them were deferred or modified to make sure that it didn't pose that risk. So thank you, Representative.
Yeah, good to know.
Thanks, Chung.
I just have to add a comment. Hopefully we'll keep those on a list, and when there's a new administration, we'll get back to doing what we wanted to do.
Yeah, that's assuming we have free and fair elections coming up, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. No, definitely want to keep in connection with you, Rep, and other legislators, as the session comes up, and I know the broadband office, Chung and Amber are also monitoring various sort of digital bills, and we'll probably chime in, when appropriate. So, I think there's a good kind of collaboration there, and what we try to do here with the Broadband Hui is just provide a forum for some of this kind of discussion and sharing about what's happening at the ledge, as well as in inside government via the broadband office, or like the UH team. So anyway, appreciate your being a participant here on the Broadband Hui. Any last questions for Rep Matayoshi? Okay, well, seeing none, I think again, I want to thank you, Rep, for joining us, and we'll definitely be in touch as we enter into this next session and political climate.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, everybody. All right, I'm gonna log off. Take care.
Okay, aloha.
Bye-bye.
And now is actually a good time to kind of segue to Chung, and I think the question came up. There was the judge's ruling on the Digital Equity Act. In particular, it was around the lawsuit that NDIA, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, submitted, and the judge's ruling. And Chung, I don't want to take away anything from your talk about this, but basically my understanding is that the judge's ruling agreed that it could go forward, but it would need to sever the language around race, and so the other thing that it was targeting, or mainly addressing the competitive grant, because that's what the NDIA had applied for. So they were most interested in the competitive grant. So with that, I want to hand it over to Chung, and you can share your thoughts on, what the judge's ruling means about the in terms of the Digital Equity Act.
Yeah, thanks, Bert. So back in October last year, NDIA sued the Trump administration for stopping the competitive grant because they were awarded actually some 20 something million dollars. And so they wanted to continue their program. So fast forward to last month, the judge ruled that yes, the competitive grant can continue as long as you take out the race component in the eligibility criteria. So NTIA told the courts that the competitive grant will be reopened. There's an indication that it'll happen as early as December, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So it'll happen sometime soon. And so what's going to happen is NTIA will issue a new NOFO, Notice of Funding Opportunity. So you will have to go through the whole application and evaluation process again. And sorry for those that have already received it. The process is going to just start fresh and new with the new requirements. And so the NOFO is expected to come out as early as December. They've missed a lot of deadlines, so I'm not gonna expect it for December. So sometime soon. And we're hoping, although like Bert said, it only addresses the competitive grant, this lawsuit, we're hoping that the capacity grant will follow sometime soon after that, because I still have the list of all the projects that we shaped with the counties to roll out the capacity grant. I still have it. I'm still hopeful that we can get the money to roll these out. So more information to come. And we're tracking it. Like Amber was on the NDIA call, I believe yesterday. So we're tracking it very closely and trying to share as much information as possible. What I encourage all of you who are interested, the requirements are probably going to be the same as far as the application requirements. I encourage everyone who is interested in applying for the competitive grant. Now, the state office is not eligible to apply for this, but everyone else is. But we're not. And so I encourage you to continue to form partnerships, because more partners and more collaboration strengthens your application. So continue to do that. Continue to reach out to us and leverage the digital equity digital equity plan to pull data, pull details, pull project ideas, and and let us help you strengthen your application. And our office is willing to work with you to on your application. I know, Bert, I know Amber was, oh, there you go, Amber. And Amber was on that call, so she has kind of more specific information. I asked her if she can just share her thoughts, because she was on that call. Amber.
Thanks so much, Chung. No, I threw a couple links in the chat for folks to dig into, and I just wanted to share that our office is very committed to providing regular updates around the entire legal issue and the comings and goings of that. The case is still in in a phase of litigation, I guess is what to say. It's pretty complex. And just to kind of reiterate, there were two federal grant fund programs that were funded through the Digital Equity Act. One was directed to the state offices, and then the other one was open to all applicants in the country. So the lawsuit was only for the one that was open for all of the nonprofits in the country, but the legal basis that the cancellation of that program was used, the legal basis for that was overturned. So the judge has agreed to withdraw racial and ethnic minorities from consideration in the covered populations groups, but all of the other covered populations are still in play. So rural populations, low income populations, veterans, people with disabilities, kupuna. So those categories are all still there. So what NDIA and partners are doing is advising folks that are interested in doing the non-competitive grant program to just start tweaking their applications, shifting some of the measurable outcomes to the new set of covered populations that are going to be eligible. So they're very clear that any indication around racial or ethnic minorities will be something that will not be counted towards that application. So it's a shift. It's happening for the whole country. People are definitely being encouraged to, check into the federal portals, make sure all of your stuff is in compliance, all of your application numbers. The expectation is that when this NOFO comes out, it could happen quite quickly. The good news, I would say, out of this is that new people are going to be able to apply that were not in the original tranche of applications for the non-competitive grant program. So anybody this is what we are assuming will be happening now. Anybody is going to be able to apply. So maybe you want to shift your application, expand what you're doing, just to kind of Chung's points, add new partners, become part of more coalitions, that kind of thing. So we're excited. We're going to keep tracking it. And also to Chung's point, we have no guarantees of timeline. There is no enforcement around that. December for the NOFO has been officially listed in legal documents. So that timeline is before the judge as when the new NOFO would come out. So we do expect it will come either then or shortly after. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions, and we will obviously keep providing updates to the Hui. And certainly if there's any action items, we will definitely be doing quite a bit of promotion of that.
And just one more thing I wanted to add, for those that are interested in applying, starting the conversation with us early allows us to kind of vet your thoughts on the projects. And it also helps us to shape the support letter that we can provide for your application. So yeah, please work with us early on when if you are interested in applying for the competitive grant. Thank you.
Bert, I
Before
did see some questions in the chat. Did you want to?
Yeah. Let me ask a couple of questions that I saw in the chat. What organizations in Hawaii that Dan Smith asked applied or received competitive? So, and I saw Wendy from Tech Savvy Teens also post something. I know of two. One was CNHA, which is Hawaiian Council right now. Now they can't change their name. And the other one was Tech Savvy Teens. And Tech Savvy Teens, you guys kind of created another separate sort of consortium collaboration. So those are two that I know of.
Yeah, but ours is all race-based, right? We partnered with OHA, West Oahu, Leadership, LDA, Leadership Disabilities. I forgot the name anyway. I think that was it. Oh, and In Peace. But it was very race-based for Native Hawaiians. So I would love to send you what we wrote. Maybe you can help us out. But I would love to work with some of the partner with other organizations on here to make a stronger application. But yeah, it was a great grant. And then, so I'm excited. This is great news.
Yeah. Sean, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, first, thanks, Chung and Amber. You guys are doing really strong work. It's hard to keep up with a flaky federal administration. So I just have a general orientation question. Are we talking about the BEAD funds beyond deployment that were allocated on a state-by-state basis? So do we know how much money is in a pot that's getting now thrown into this process? Or whatever happened to that? Aren't there not, because the deployment funds, the remainder was supposed to still be designated to each state, right? Anyway, that's my
Yeah,
question.
I'll just make a brief statement on that. And so, okay, so there, uh, okay, so there. This is the third thing of the DE money, if you will. So the non-deployment is part of BEAD, and so this is not that discussion. And so the competitive grant, the capacity grant, they're separate from the non-deployment portion of the BEAD, right? And so UH is still waiting for guidance on that. And so until that happens, yeah, I don't want to go too much into details. And I'm not going to ask UH to talk too much about that because we're still waiting for guidance on that. And so it may happen as early as next month. I don't know. We've been kind of waiting on their guidance, but there's a NTIA event next month. So
Okay,
perhaps
so that's a discrete, separate program. Thanks.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
under BEAD. Yeah. So we're talking about just the competitive grant that's separate from that.
Right. There's three different funding tranches available for community organizations to access. One is through the state office, the capacity grant, which we're hoping will be reinstated. And I believe that is I think that's at about one point, I don't know, it's just over $1 billion for the country. Then there's
I
the
think like
competitive grant
1.5 or something.
program, which
1.5.
then there's the competitive grant program that is available for applicants per application. So so it's competitive across the whole country, a national organization, state organizations. There's no set aside for any state to get a certain amount of that. You're competing with the whole country. And that is $1.25 billion. And then there is, to Sean's point, the non-deployment funds, which hopefully will be controlled in state where those deployment funds were. So that's all of the funds that were not spent for building the physical infrastructure. Whatever's left over is called the non-deployment. And that could be very much directed by the federal government, what is eligible to spend on that. We've seen many conversations wanting those funds to go for different purposes. So we are not sure what the scope of that would be. It doesn't seem likely from conversations that it will be very open. It does seem like those funds will be directed for certain types or styles of projects like security or that kind of thing. So we're waiting to see, and those announcements have not been made on the non-deployment. But there are three tranches, and we are hopeful that with coordination, we'll be able to get some of this great federal money into the state.
I just will add that there might be a fourth that could be kind of in this sort of category of digital equity, and that's the Native Entities Grant Program, which is going to be administered through NTIA, and that's basically a use and adoption program, and we can chat a little bit about it, in our next piece of the agenda, which is a little bit about DHHL's presentation. But any other questions? Chung, how would
Yeah,
you like to best sort of open the door and encourage this sort of collaboration with the broadband office?
Yeah, wait, so before I do that, let me just address a couple of things. So Christy's question, Christy, we think the projects would be very similar to the first NOFO, although all the NOFO information has been taken down from the previous set. So we're thinking DE type projects, right? So but we won't know until the new NOFO comes out. And then Annette's question, Annette, one advice that I want to give is that you may have a program that you want to do, but I do encourage you to also consider reaching out to another organization that might be doing a bigger, may have a bigger kind of scale project, and that you may want to partner with because I don't know how big of a project that you're thinking of, but a smaller project usually has very little chance of kind of getting getting vetted and being successful. So I think big projects would be good. Um, so the way to reach out to us, I'll drop my email in here again, but just reach out to us. Like if you're even just thinking about doing a certain project and you want to apply, what we can do also is because that we are aware of other organizations applying, we can actually try to help shape the collaboration so that you make a super application. So yeah, just reach out to us if you're even just thinking about applying or have an idea that you want things that that you want funded. So we can piece those collaborations together. So I'll drop my email in here. I think that's the best way to contact us is to either email me or Amber to start that conversation.
So Chung, one of the questions that I think Annette asked, which it wasn't a really question, it was a statement, more of, they don't want to lead this, they want to be a participant in it. And with the competitive grant, the state can't be the lead because they're already the lead for the capacity grant. And so from a consultative standpoint, how do you see finding an appropriate lead? And I don't know, maybe, I don't know, Wendy wants to jump in on this, but it's really key to find that lead organization that's willing to embrace this collaborative arrangement. And to be honest, that is somewhat elusive. I haven't
Yeah.
really seen anybody come up and say, hey, we want to lead this effort.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
so normally, like, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to use them as an example because we're aware, we were made aware, like CNHA, right? So it's a bigger organization that can probably take a smaller program or smaller idea and add that to their application. So, I mean, that's just kind of what it comes down to, right? If you have a very small program, it probably helps um, to collaborate with a bigger program. And so, and like I said earlier, if you reach out to us and we're aware of what you're thinking of, and as we have conversation with other applicants, we can offer suggestions. Now, I'm not going to promise that it's going to all work out, but at least the conversation can be done to see if it works and if it fits within the kind of the bigger vision that the applicant has. So yeah, Annette, we're let's talk and see what kind of project that you're thinking of, and then we can help you. We can do some matchmaking. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Chung. Any other questions? This is going to be an interesting process. As if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think, from a timeline standpoint, Chung, you're right. I mean, I saw some notice about it being December, but it might be longer, but it at least gives people a a time frame for identifying a project, trying to find team members, and then forming that right sort of applicant that's going to be the recipient of this particular award.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks, Chung and Amber, and you guys are more than welcome to join us. And I know you do on the Broadband Hui. So we'll keep this topic, sort of top on the agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to spend a little bit of time, and I'm not speaking for DHHL. I asked Jaron if you would like to join us. He had other obligations, so I did want to point everybody to some resources that I think it sort of dovetails into how do we plan for some of this stuff, on a going forward basis. So if you take a look at the agenda, let me see if I can find the agenda. And I shared it in the chat. If you click on the commission meeting, which took place on July 28th, which was just, a week ago, Jaron did a really good job of outlining, all the things that he is involved in. And he did it, pretty much in about a 15-minute information briefing. So he was the first one up. So if you have a chance, you should take a look at it. Anybody that's interested in, what's happening with TBCP1, TBCP2, as well as the TBCP third round, which is, 3, you should check it out. And so I'm not going to take away anything from, what Jaren talked about, but I do want to point everybody to several slides that he made available, and this first one is just an outline of what has taken place for TBCP1, and TBCP is Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program, and this is the first sort of tranche of money that was slated for use and adoption. And so this pretty well outlines, the spend. And this has to be completed by, the end of this year. So, you'll have the $2.5 million for charter schools. This is for pretty much the devices. You got these solar charging stations at the public libraries, maternal telehealth, Native Hawaiian telehealth, and these are pretty, sizable numbers. And then digital mapping, which is UCLA. So that was shared, and again, this is available on the YouTube, presentation. The next one that I wanted to quickly share is his presentation on TBCP2. Let's see, where is that? Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is the TBCP2, and this is the one that the first one, TBCP1, was about 17 million. And this is kind of the remainder of the money. And, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. So this is the stuff that's being looked at and developed over the course of this period of performance, which, if I'm not mistaken, he said is the next 4 years. So a lot of, a lot of activity that's going on with, TBCP 2. And then, as I mentioned, that is DHHL's sort of second tranche, which in essence kind of amounted to the 90 million. Okay. And then let's see, where's my the last one that I wanted to share is the one I sort of mentioned, which is the TBCP3. And that one is one that Jaren basically said that they were not going to participate in TBCP3, and it they have enough to do with TBCP 1 and 2. So this one had a set of amount, which obviously wasn't as much as the 90. So I think they're gonna forego TBCP3. Then there's the Native Entities Grant Program, which is also not going to be applied to by DHHL. But this is open to Native Hawaiian organizations. And the reason I kind of bring it up, because with CNHA having kind of been the one applying for the competitive grant, you would sort of think maybe they might also be interested in the Native Entity Grant Program. That still remains to be seen, but one of the things that I would sort of take a look at is, as you start to think about the program or the project that you want to submit something for, again, talk to the broadband office and see if it's something that could be rolled up into the competitive grant. And if not, then it could potentially be a part of a native entity grant program. And what Jaron, which I want to convey, is that he said if people are interested in the native entity grant program, he would like to talk to them because just so that they deconflict any of the other programs that he's currently implementing. So one of the points that he made during the video was that, if people were interested but didn't completely understand what was already in play for TBCP1 and TBCP2, then there could be the potential for conflict. And the conflict would be that it would be overlapping federal funding projects that would then result in potentially somebody having to give back some money. So the whole point was that if there's ways to, deconflict the program so that it doesn't overlap and it's separate, that's what his sort of call to action would be. So that's for the Native Entity Grant Program. And again, I've heard some discussion on the street that, some people are interested. And so I just wanted to make that point available for, anyone on this call or perhaps watching, the recording. So again, not taking any words away from Jaron, but his encouragement is that if you're going to be interested in the Native Entity Grant Program, talk to him and make sure that the programs aren't conflicting with the stuff that he's already got in play. Any kind of questions about that? And I will ask Jaron to come back because I still want them to talk about the the RFP that was awarded to the folks over at Ulu High Tech, but they weren't prepared to talk about details. Hey, Sean.
Hey, I just want to comment on how relevant this is given the BEAD funding taking away race-based preference, and then there's a tribal funding program. So I just think the dynamic is important to observe. And then I shared in the chat some inspiring example. There's a small tribe in Northern California, Hoopa Valley tribe, that I just got to go to their data center opening. They got an $8 million data center to manage fiber to the home for the whole tribe. And they also run a wireless network. And I just think and they know about Hawaii and they have some friends in Hawaii and they are, anyway, I just think we need to look for examples of what we could do to support the Native Hawaiian interests and DHHL in this endeavor. So anyway, just leaning into that. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. And Bo, not to call you out or anything, but I'm glad you joined us because this is kind of the stuff that please feel free to share with your community and kind of rally the troops because these programs are available, right? And if we don't take the initiative to go after them, we're basically kind of leaving that money on the table. And I don't want to speak for the broadband office, but if Chung and others are willing to help, this is the time to pull those ideas together, get to find a way to collaborate, and make sure that that kind of collaboration is supported by the broadband office because those letters of support as well as congressionals are super important.
Oh, thank you, Bert. Yeah, I guess my point of being on the call was this particular discussion. We early on tried to work with the department in seeking a way in which we could bring broadband technology in our community. And so And it was a, it's been years since we had that initial discussion with the department. Jared came on to be the conduit between the community and the department and broadband, this broadband initiative to sort of hone in on some of these things. My hope is that we could, find a way, find solutions in our community for broadband, and further expand. I think these technologies that are going to help our community. So thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
And Bo, you brought up another point that I didn't include a slide on, and and you guys might have been in this conversation, but there's another slide. If you go and check out the info briefing that Jaren did, it talked about the 2.5 gigahertz spectrum that is available on Hawaiian homelands. And one of the points that he made was that they want to make sure that it's used, or else they'll have to give it back, right? And my kind of position on that is, if it's an asset that is available for the Native Hawaiian, well, beneficiaries, as well as, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, we should retain it as much as we can. And the Big Island is one that is looking at trying to identify use cases that could be proven in to use the 2.5. And I know he said West Hawaii and East Hawaii. So the slide included some work that they're doing with a company called Beamlink, and the Beamlink guys were involved with a test case on Molokai. So I invited Beamlink to come on, and maybe they'll be able to come on for the August 19th call. So these are examples of how Beamlink is working with DHHL to test out the 2.5 gigahertz for various use cases, including, resilience and backup and actual use to distribute internet access, across the homeland. So that's another slide that I'll probably pull and talk about, next on the next Broadband Hui. But that was an important topic, given the fact that we could be losing that frequency. Okay, mahalo. I do want to give some last minute talking rights to Nick, and he has a quick update on the broadband Ho'ike for Maui.
Awesome. Thank you, Bert. Appreciate it. Always good meetings. We'll keep this really short, just kind of a placeholder. Broadband Ho'ike, in partnership with the County of Maui, Onapa'a, and the Broadband Office, State Broadband Office. We're looking at doing a virtual event. We're going to actually be looking at doing a few virtual events on the week of digital inclusion in October. We're also really excited about an in-person event early in 2027 in Maui County as well. But just wanted to kind of pin those in everybody's calendars. We'll have some topic subjects, all of our experts squared away here shortly. And we're really excited to share those updates with you all on the horizon. So grateful for the time, Bert. Thank you.
So Nick, can you repeat the dates for Digital Inclusion Week? October?
Yeah, it is we're looking where October 7th is. You're going to make me open my calendar because I just had my notes down as
No, I know. Yeah,
Inclusion Week.
October 7th is a Wednesday.
Yeah, so that week, we're looking at the week of October 5th.
Okay, so you're looking at having a variety of different activities over the course of that week.
Correct. And everything is still kind of in flux. We don't want to be too nail ourselves down because we've got a lot of fluidity to this event. But we want to make sure that we've got accessibility for everyone. So looking at a variety of times throughout that week with a variety of subjects that really all tie together. So we're really excited about that.
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about it on the 19th on next Broadband Hui. I do want to point out a couple of things if you want to check out the Hawaii School on Internet Governance Symposium that we're going to be doing on September 4th, there's a link in the agenda, and I would encourage anybody interested in internet governance and how we at a local level can be a part of, raising the voice for Hawaii on this sort of international topic. Please join us. It'll be a fun event. It'll take place out in Mililani over at the SurfPack data center in Mililani. Okay. Any other quick comments, questions before we wrap up here? And again, this is recorded. It'll air on the community access television, and appreciate everybody's continued support for the Broadband Hui. This is kind of the closing slide here. So again, these months are going by super fast, and I really want to. I think summer is coming to a close, and I appreciate everybody's like continued support and participation. September is going to come around really, really quickly. So our sort of last Broadband Hui call for August is going to be on the 19th. So I'll send the agenda out closer to that date. But in the meantime, between now and then, until I see you again or talk to you, you all stay safe and you all stay awesome. Aloha, everybody. Mahalo.
Aloha.
Yeah, we didn't hear from UH.
Next time.